less than 20% of their basic salary. So in other words, whatever a member is setting aside is less than piece. So 20% that you are setting aside, it will not cover the 100% of your style of living at the moment.
After retirement.
After retirement, yeah.
I'm interested in that part. In a normal setup where somebody has done well in saving for retirement, what can they expect at 65 in terms of proportion of their salary? Or is the idea that at 65 they won't need the amount of money they needed when they were 30, where they must still pay bonds and so on? At that point, maybe cars are paid off, houses are paid off, kids are out of school.
Yeah, look, it's complex, but not that complicated. I'm saying it's complex because we're dealing here with different category of members. There are those who are earning higher average and lower salary. But if a member has served or has worked for at least 35 or above 35, let me just put it to you that way, that person is likely to get about 70% of his salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, it isn't. Provided there were no borrowings.
Against that pension.
Against that pension. That's one. Two, even when there were borrowings, let me say 5 years before retirement, a member needs to make sure that everything that, whether it's against a bond, it needs to be settled, paid off. There mustn't be a child that is still be at the university and all those
unless
things.
They have the child at 50.
Exactly. So you must never have an expense or expenses because that's where the difficulty is. Remember, the more you become older, despite that you can no longer work or actively work and get an income, there is also an element of ailments.
Of what?
Ailment. People become
ailments,
sickly.
Yes. Sickly, yes.
People become sickly. That's where the challenge is. Because once you become sick, then you need cash
for medical expenses.
Go and see the doctor, consultation, medicine, or capsules or pills. All those things are costly. And unfortunately, as and when you age, that's where as well sickness join you and accompany you until the last day when you leave the earth. So if you're a member of the retirement fund, you need to think about all those things that are likely to happen. If you're still young, yes, sometimes you don't even catch cold. There are those who never catch cold. There are those, of course, who does. And because you're still active and you're strong, you are in an income, you can take care of it. But then make a provisions for a future so that when you are no longer in a position to get an income through your salary or in any other means, then you have made provision for a pension.
What's your sense, and being in this industry for decades now, your sense about the understanding of South Africans about retirement funding?
It's very minimal, I must say. Remember, we don't have a syllabus that talk to pension fund issues. A person only become aware about pension fund when you get employed. Okay. And that's when then HR will tell you about pension fund, and it becomes a language that you don't even understand, and you don't want even to hear about it. And the reasoning at the time is that you are hastily to go to work. Remember, you qualified, got employed. So you are eager to start working so you can buy a better car and all those things. So those are mainly on the card of a newly employed. Pension fund is now I'm still young, 60 years to go. That's very
Can
far.
people opt out of, let's say you are now in your 20s and you get a job, can you opt out of retirement fund?
No, once you have joined, most of the pension funds rules do not allow a member to hop. moving from here to
Yeah.
another, unless if you're changing the employment.
No, but let's say it's a new employment. You are just arriving at work. You are fresh from university. You've got a degree.
Yeah.
You are given a job as an assistant director. You're earning nice. Can
Yes.
you opt out of retirement fund? In other words, can you say I don't want retirement fund? Give me all my money.
No, if while you are still employed, you cannot. Remember that taxations as well involved.
Yeah.
Once you become a member of a pension fund or retirement fund, the contribution that you are making, as long as that contribution is not more than 350,000 per annum, is not taxable.
Mm.
So government, that's where I can say thumbs up, because they are assisting members that are contributing to their retirement funding not to pay tax.
Mm.
What I'm saying is that on your basic salary, the first deductions, it will be your pension contributions
Mm.
to your retirement funding or your pension fund. That amount is tax-free.
Mm.
So once that amount has been deducted, the balance get taxed.
Mm.
So government is supporting a member to create a saving. So the rule says you remain a member of the fund while you are still working for that particular employer. And going forward now, after the amendments, all what it means is that when you join the employer, you'll have the two pots with you. If you are newly employed, your employer, after joining, will then create a leg that will be for your retirement purposes, and then the other leg will be for withdrawal purposes. That's where then you can borrow. But if you come from another fund, then the portion that will be bringing into this fund, it will be vested interest.
Mm.
So you also don't touch that one. The portion for retirement, which is 2/3, you need to keep.
Mm.
The portion for retirement, which is 1/3, you can play with that one because it allows you access or flexibility.
Mm.
Yes, yes.
Even outside the current two pot, you still had that flexibility, or it was not allowed. It's only being allowed now with these new rules.
No, before the two pot, you're not allowed.
Mm.
Yeah, and what was happening, which we have experienced and observed, was that members of the fund will even leave employment
Just to
access the pension.
access the pension.
Yes, access the
and then
pension.
squander it.
At the later stage, then reapply or get employment
Yeah.
somewhere else. Yeah, even in municipalities,
Yeah.
a member will move from one municipality to another,
And then take his pension.
and then cash there and start afresh somewhere. So that as well is a danger, because age does not wait. So as and when you change employment,
Yeah.
if you don't keep your savings, like in the past,
Yeah.
where they had access for the entire amount that they've set aside for the retirement, they could take everything.
Yeah.
But now going forward, that is no longer possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs always don't work they work for themselves.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
They don't work for a company, so they don't half the time the issue of a retirement fund doesn't even come into their minds, because they are doing stuff that requires them hand to mouth. They're worried about salaries of their employees that they have. They're worried about monthly expenses. So if you tell them about medical aid and retirement, they don't want to listen to that, because there's just no access cash.
Yeah.
What's your advice to entrepreneurs in this regard? Because there's a big workforce that works for itself or independently, or works for small businesses.
JJ, you are correct. Every working person has to make or have a plan.
Mm.
Yeah, you must make a plan. Even when you've just started, you have your own business, call it a one-man show or one-woman show. It doesn't matter. You must have a plan for your future. Now, if you are an individual working for yourself, there is what you call a retirement annuity.
Mm.
Okay. RA, they call it RA.
Yeah.
It's another form of a pension fund.
Mm.
It allows that entrepreneur to set aside his income, basic income. Remember, I must rephrase it. While you are working for yourself, you have a company.
Mm.
That company becomes your employer,
Yes.
right? Now, because you work for company A, which is your employer, even when you are alone,
Mm.
you need to structure a salary. So that on a month-to-month basis, even when you are paying yourself, you
can
picture
deduct.
it as if this business is paying you because
Yeah.
you work for that business.
Yeah.
So you create your own salary. The other amount that is there, the excess amount that you are referring to, you can start setting aside and planning towards your business because it's within your business. But in your structuring of a salary, your medical aid you need, even your insurance, human insurance, that you protect yourself in case you become disabled and all those things. Then you are covered. And then you also make provision for your retirement funding because one day you will retire like any other person. Now, when you retire, you need an income. So these things that are current, or the current situation is that an entrepreneur will have an account. Instead of creating a salary, he or she will tap from the account.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is improper.
Yeah.
Yeah, your financial planning doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So the possibility of
Yeah.
your company going down is very high.
Is high.
It's
Yeah.
very high because
Because you're paying yourself randomly,
Yeah.
not structured.
yeah,
You don't
every
structure.
time you see something, then you've got disposal of cash. You just go for it,
Yeah.
even when it's not planned.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at your income and say, okay, what will be my salary here? Am I taking 20% of the business income, or are taking 30% of the business income, or even 40%? So that's your salary.
But that's your salary.
60% remain with the business. It builds the business.
Yes.
So on a month-to-month basis, 60% is there, 40% is yours. And then you can structure. You can even, afford to buy a car going forward because you've got the salary that you are earning, and your business is also
It's growing
at the same time.
Do you find that there's a lot of small business that don't plan at all when it comes to retirement, because part of it is that they don't structure their own salary, so they will pay everybody, then if there's something left they just take as they see fit?
No, they even buying of grocery, they go to the account. One of my family member is a doctor. I hope he's not listening.
Okay.
He used to take money from his account on expenses. So one day we were discussing. I said, no, but how do you do your savings? Then he explained to me those stories. So I had to sit him down and we had to have a serious talk.
To say you don't do that.
As the uncle and the nephew. And then thereafter, when I met him at later stages, he shook my hand and said, no, you helped me. It never rang to my mind. So every now and then, all those days, we used to have checks here in the country. So you'll sign for whatever he's paying for, which is not a good way of saving.
He must separate business from his personal account.
From personal expenses, yes.
If you want to know about pension funds, we're talking finances tonight. 011-440-1396. 011-440-1396. We're live in 14 radio stations tonight across the country as we talk retirement funding with Dade Letjane. Dade Letjane, just zoning now in terms of Akani. I know Akani does many other things. Just tell us a little bit about your broader portfolio. There are very few, black companies actually that are in this area. People know of big companies like Old Mutual and Liberty and what have you, but you don't hear a lot about black companies in this industry. Why?
JJ, yes, Akani, let me say, has been in existence now for 23 years in the financial sector. The access to financial sector is not that easy. I might just put it very clear there. Firstly is that one needs to write an exam. They call it the key individual exam. You also need to write representative exams. So once you have qualified, then you'll be able to access the industry. So it's not an easy environment because
this qualification, so is it within a degree or how, where do you do this?
They are it's in the industry, it's in the sector. It has been arranged, I think it was, I forgot now the exact period, 97, 98, somewhere around there. People, I mean, all the reps who were in the industry, because most of the African people of color are employed in most insurance companies to sell their product and all that. And there were a lot of outcry, of course, of clients that were saying we're not properly advised.
Yeah.
We have signed, for instance, they will sign you a life cover. Someone will come in and say it's an endowment. Even today, there are lots of those that when you look at someone's payslip, you find endowment, you find a life cover. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So you are covering yourself 4 or 5 times on the same.
Is that
product.
allowed, by the way?
No.
Is there a limit to life cover? You can have more than one.
Well, it will be subject to your income. If it's a funeral scheme, it will be up to 100,000.
Yeah.
So your income will dictate how much you can cover for yourself for.
For life, for life.
Yes.
You can't just pick a number and pay a relevant premium.
No. It's subject to the level of income and what you can cover yourself for. That also has a limit. And remember as well, in terms of the National Credit Act, you're not supposed to take more than 25% of your basic income and use it or borrow money.
Yeah.
You will not be able, no financial institution will assist you. So, coming up into the financial sector is not an easy industry.
Yeah.
Majority of the companies that are there, obviously, they're white owned. So, that's one particular impediment. And black owned are very few. In pension administration, I think the only one that is known and being black owned, managed and controlled is the Akani Retirement Fund Administrators. We started as
so you don't have competition.
Our competitors are those companies that were there for over 100 years, 200 years, and all that. Those are our competitors. And they were mainly insurance companies, which then they're also doing, because they're still there, they're also doing pension administration, and you name all the other products that we are also doing. So as Akani, we do pension administration, we do financial advice to our members or any other person that approach our offices. We also diverted into property development because the Municipal Employees Pension Fund is our main or bigger client. Has has a lot of properties. And as a result of that, we're mandated by the fund to manage
those properties.
Correct.
So they are not Akani properties.
No, they don't belong to.
You manage them on behalf of the fund.
We manage them on behalf of the Municipal Employees Pension Fund. These properties belong to members of the Municipal Employees Pension Fund. Sometimes, if we say we manage 28 billion, I mean we have 28 billion under management. It does not mean that Akani has or Letjane has 28 billion. I was reading one of the Google. My friend showed me it. My friend got 28 billion. Can I borrow money from you? I said, no. That money belongs to members. Does not belong to me. So we do property management, property development, but we are talking here commercial properties, shopping malls. That's where we specialize on. We have ventured now through the fund, of course, on the
hospitality
hotel, which is hospitality. Hospitality is also another investment, and members sometimes don't understand why we invest in, for instance, commercial property or shopping mall. There are those members that when we talk to them to say, but can we go there and get a discount? So we said, no. But we understand that members don't understand the reason behind.
What's the reason? Make it simple.
Behind the fund building a shopping mall, and then we sign up the tenants. So the mall the building belong to the pension funds.
Mm.
All those shops that are in that particular building, you see that different shops, different doors with different names.
Mm.
Those ones are tenants.
Mm.
So on a month-to-month basis, we bill them. They pay back their tenant fees into the accounts of the pension fund.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that the pension fund is always liquid and
Correct.
therefore
It must
able to pay people as they retire.
Yes.
They are paid. Oh, by the way, while talking about that, when somebody retires, do you pay them a lump sum of the money that they saved? Or you pay them a salary?
JJ, you are absolutely right. That is a key portion of why a member must belong to the pension fund. One is that when you retire, you get 1/3.
As a lump sum.
As a lump sum.
Mm.
Okay. Some people go out with over 2 million, 3 million as lump sum.
Mm.
Okay. Now, on a month-to-month basis, because they've saved enough,
Yeah.
remember, when they retire now, they're no longer paying pay as you earn and all those other expenses. So cash came directly to them. There are those who even earn more than what they used to earn while they're fully employed.
Mm.
Okay. Now they get a lump sum. Then on the very first month, they get the monthly pension. Okay. Every year within the Municipal Employees Pension Fund, every year in November, 25th of November, they get a 30th check.
Mm.
Now, if the fund's return is good or was good, every year end of the financial year, which is February, they get the increase. For this year alone, they got 6.9 increase, on their pension, on their monthly pension. So if you look at the financial year from 2023 to 2024 February, because remember, financial year end in February, they effectively receive an amount of 9.8%.
Yeah.
So this is the fund that's doing very well. Yes.
No, absolutely. After the break, I want to talk about exactly that, because there were a lot of noise, with people taking you to the financial sector authority saying, you guys, your governance is bad, your board is not well constituted, and so on. I want you to just clear the air on that after the break. You are on Frank Dialogue on your radio. It's a national imbizo through 14 radio stations here tonight across the length and breadth of our country. Stay tuned.
Frank Dialogue on your radio with Dr. JJ Tabane. Let's talk frankly.
It's Frank Dialogue on your radio with me on Kopotse JJ Tabane. We're coming to you live from EKFM, Radio West Coast, Kofifi FM, KCRS FM in Mpumalanga, Social FM, Voice of Hope in the Cape, Theta FM in the Val, Gugundlovu FM in KwaZulu-Natal, Ilizwi Lomzansi, as well as Mabatu FM out in the northwest, Vembe FM out in the north, and then also Radio Kwezi, as well as Alfred Nzo Radio, and of course Alex FM, who are hosts here tonight. Thank you, and thank you for joining this national imbizo. Good evening To you, there's a caller on the line.
Well, as Alfred in Go Radio of Alex FM.
Hello.
Good evening, Pa.
Yes, sir.
What's on your mind?
I'd like to comment on or to ask question to the gentleman regarding the pension in Bizo.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Dimela Brajeji and that is Zamani.
Ahebab.
Yeah, my name is Bareng and I'm calling from Mahikeng.
Hey.
In the Northwest Province. I would like to ask Ntate Zamani one or two questions.
Okay, he's listening.
Okay, first question, Ntate Zamani. How does the partial withdrawal affect years of service of a member? For example, if I've withdrawn 30,000, how many months or years of service will be taken from my total years of service? That is question number one. And then number two, I think the government tried to assist members in terms of difficulties that the members have experienced. So they were trying to give members money to try and sort out their debts and whatsoever. But they are deducting a lot of money for tax, because when a person borrowed 30,000, someday can get as much as 16,200. So it's a lot of money. It's not assisting us because it's a lot of money. So I would really advise members to withdraw money. And then lastly, I would like to ask, say I'm contributing 3,000 and the employer is contributing 7,000. How do you allocate savings in terms of savings pot and retirement pot, and then how much on that amount will be the administration fee for pension administrators?
That is Zamani?
So I will, yeah.
Thank you very much for a good question or an intelligent question. Your question number one, partial withdrawal on a member will be calculated. It depends on how much year of service you have and what will be the impact of your 30,000. Remember, like my earlier explanation was that from your basic salary, number one is that you only contribute, if you are a member of the, I'm big under corrections here, if you're a member of the Municipal Employees Pension Fund, your total contribution is 29.5%. Now it's 29.5% total contribution of your basic salary. All right. Now that amount, if I put it to cents, rand and cents, let me give it to you in the form of an example so that we can both work together. If let's say your salary is 100 rand and you are contributing 29.9%, in other words, your contributions will be 30 rands, right? Now, 30 rands times, let's say, 12 months, that will be 360. Okay. Now, that is per annum. So you multiply by 10 years, it will give you 36,000, almost 36,000.
Yeah.
So now you can imagine you are taking 30,000, which you take it within, let's say within a day when you apply. But it took you 10 years to contribute into a pension fund. That's where sometimes members do not understand that at the age when you started to work for that, for instance, for that 10 years,
yes,
you were not earning the salary that you are earning now.
Now, yes.
Yeah. You know, I used to work for municipalities. I worked 10 years in a municipality.
Yeah.
Do you know that members at the time when I was working in the municipality, and don't count my age, JJ, because in 1985,
Yeah.
members were still earning 150 per month.
Sure.
150 rands. Now, if you multiply 30% of the 150 rands, it's almost nothing. Now, if you take 30,000, like the gentleman was asking here, that partial withdrawal, I'm saying to him, by just my example, you contributed far less, but when you take that amount, you take a bigger chunk. So that is how the 30,000 affect your year of service. So that year of service gets deducted then from your total year of service that you have, or your or money that you have set aside for your retirement. But calculation will need to be done. If I had figures to know exactly how much the salary you have and all that, I was able to give you the estimate, not the exact amount, because I'm also talking out of authority. The person that is doing calculation within the pension funds, or who are accredited to do exactly that, is the actuary of the fund. Those are the ones that can give you the exact numbers to indicate to you exactly how much year of service that you are now taking away in the form of a 30,000.
But it's interesting because he's saying that he's advising people not to touch the pot at all.
I agree with him. He understands.
But it doesn't look like your members have listened to you, because you have to pay 102 million rands.
Yeah, look, JJ, you are absolutely right. The challenge we had with this act is that when the act was introduced, members were not given
there wasn't much
an
education.
Opportunity, to breathe and understand what the implication is going to be.
But whose fault is that in your view?
Well, there were members that were saying, most of the members, we need access to the pension fund because during COVID we're not working, we're struggling now, or we're out of employment, so we need to access. We will not be able to reach retirement because we're not working. So there were a lot of positive and negative argument towards the two-pot system. Now the two-pot system is there, it's now a reality, and it's law. So we can't move away from it. But it's equally important for members to understand the implication of it. He is correct to say every member that has applied for two-pot get taxed. So if you have been paying your tax, you've been complying with the tax man, in most cases you do get your 30,000 not taxed. But those who are not paying or behind, or who are owing the tax man, it's the right time now that the tax man can correct his book as well as that particular member to be up to date with his or her tax. That's where the challenge is. So yes, it's not advisable for members to take, but if they are in dire need, of course, that is what this law
was meant to do.
Yes, was gazetted.
But do you believe that in overall terms, because you are only one of many fund administrators, and just your section is 102 million, what does that do for the economy? Do you think that's a positive impact in the economy, in that maybe that amount looked in totality stimulates the economy? And if you multiply it with others, I don't know what is the total money that's been paid out if you look at all pension administrators. Your view about what its impact is on the economy?
Look, I don't see it improving the economy. I really don't. You see, if members were accessing this amount, for instance, to become, like you said earlier on, entrepreneurs, then I will see the economy being stimulated. But this amount as well is not big enough to take them to that extent. It's not sizable. So it's amount that will be, exchanging in most areas and get it used there and there. Some are using it to pay their current debt that they are owing with so-called bomachonisa. Some they're even buying from this panza shop, as you saw the experience that we had. And the money does not even circulate back to the economy. It goes somewhere else. So these are some of the areas that I believe government must take care of.
Yeah.
so that whatever.
Are you critical of this law at all, that in fact it exists? Do you think that government should not have done this? Because my understanding, and I may be wrong, was that this was sort of established in the context of COVID, but was delayed to be legislated. And now it comes after COVID, when in fact others may argue it's not necessary.
Yes. Look, I'll be very neutral. Remember, I'm an administrator. I need to execute what the law says.
Yeah.
In others, it's good,
Mm.
but in others, it's no good.
Mm.
Because whoever is taking and misusing it, that person, he or she's tampering with his future or her future.
Yeah.
That's the bad part of it. That's definitely a bad part.
All right, let's go back to that issue about relationship with the financial sector authority. What's going on there? I mean, you were in a tribunal about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where the tribunal found that the financial sector, or it found against the financial sector and found in your favor. Tell us a little bit about that.
JJ, thank you very much. It was, I wouldn't say euphoria moment. I didn't want to get there.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to go there. But it came in as a lesson, I think, for the regulator or all the regulators.
Yeah.
To ensure that when they take a decision, it's an informed decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what actually transpired was that the Municipal Employees Pension Fund Board of Trustees had an elections. The elections was represented by members from various municipalities. Almost all municipalities were represented.
Yes.
And trustees were elected. Now, when this notion of the FSA saying they were having concern with the Board of Trustees, it happened during 2019. And they were saying to the board, some of your term of office has expired.
Yeah.
But the intention at the time was that the board will arrange a general meeting in 2020.
An AGM of some sort.
No, it's a general
just
meeting.
a general
Call
meeting.
it general meeting,
Yeah.
yes. Now, the board did, through the administrator, try to set up a meeting for 2020, during 2020. But then you recollect, in March month, an announcement was made by the state president that there is COVID, no movement.
Yeah.
So the Board of Trustees could not do anything until the board was set up in 2021, where the general meeting was set, then elections was conducted. So the norm or the culture based on the rules of the fund was that, or still that the fund will send a circular to all municipalities, inviting municipalities to elect members of the funds, to elect a representative who will attend a general meeting. When that member attend a general meeting, there's a potential that he can be elected in the general meeting as a Board of Trustees. This has been going on for 54 years because the Municipal Employees Pension Fund was born on the 1st of July 1970. But now, after the elections of the Board of Trustees in 2021, what the Board of Trustees did, they wrote a letter to the commissioner and said, we would like to come and see you because before we were elected, there was this concern that you raised, which the commissioner agreed. But on the eve of the meeting, that meeting was cancelled. The FSA was citing the fact that they were concerned on how the representatives were elected within the various municipalities, which the board said to the FSA, no, that is the process in accordance to the rules of the fund. But then there was then a standoff in between the Financial Services Conduct Authority as well as the Board of Trustees of the Municipal Employees Pension Fund. Now, as and when the Board of Trustees submitted rules amendment, they were pended, they were not approved. They also submitted a rule change, a name change, which was also not approved. Even the principal officer, when was appointed, they refused to approve a principal office. So whatever submission sent to the FSA, the FSA will not approve because they are concerned that the board was not properly constituted. And the board will say, no, who are members of the fund were elected by the members of the fund, we are properly constituted. Then we end up both parties agreeing to go to the tribunal, which it happened towards the end of September. And then the tribunal did find out that the FSA was overreaching. They were working outside the law. In fact, the statement by the judges were saying, because there were 3 judges on the tribunal, the statement was saying FSCA should stop this excessive fault finding spirit. Stop
that suggests
excessive fault finding spirit.
That suggests a very bad relationship between you and the FSCA then.
Yes.
What do you think can be done to fix that relationship? Because obviously they've got a role to play. You know, I mean, if you look at other financial instances like VBS and Itala and what, it looks like something there went wrong, right?
Yes.
One way or another. Yes. And so you need a regulator that can step in and assist, because that should be the operative way to assist. So that for example, cooperative banks are now being formed, etc.
Yes.
The financial sector has to empower particularly black people, and if you have got a financial sector that is seen as just there to find fault, that's a problem. But individually, as a business now, what do you think should be done to reach out to them to fix that relationship?
JJ, we have the opinion that they've learned something, that firstly, they should work within the law. There's nothing wrong in regulating.
Yeah.
But consider the law. If you apply the law is also applicable to you as a regulator. It's not only...
You're not above the law because you are a regulator.
Correct, yes. But now, after this, victorious outcome on this case, I think the board, which I know they had the discussions on it, they are going to approach the FSA to forge
a
cooperative
better relationship,
a better understanding of one another, so that together we can build a better country. But it's important, it's a lesson, it's a landmark decisions that teaches not only the FSA as a regulator and other regulators that when they're at the wrong, they need to consider and accept that we're faltered, let's correct our situation. But the board is in the process of setting up a meeting so they can meet with the FSA and forge a better relationship. In fact, they were directed by the tribunal that they need to talk to one another. So it's a fact. There's no two ways about it.
Do you think that black companies in the financial sector are getting a raw deal from regulators in general, or was this an isolated case of Akani?
Subjectively, from my experience, I have been in the industry for over 30 years now. When I started Akani administrators in 2001, 2001, right? And it happened that in 2003, the trustees of the Municipal Employees Pension Fund appointed me as an administrator, as a black company. What I've observed or experienced is that twice in a year, there will be demand of various documentations. Inspectors will come to my offices.
And that doesn't happen to other administrators in your understanding?
It doesn't happen. Not that in my knowledge.
In your knowledge,
because remember, there are other people of color that are working to those...
In those big companies.
And we do
so
check.
They are aware.
We just check and say, how often have you been visited by the FSA inspectors? No. They're not being investigated.
At all?
No. They hardly visit them. They hardly visit them. Now, if you've been investigated, there's nothing wrong to check. But the lack of trust for black businesses in this country is a problem. If you are seen as a black business, you are this person that you are sort of you are seen being a thief. So you can't buy a new car.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if Pete Guareno buy a new car there, no one worries about him.
Yeah.
But if you're a black person, buy a similar car.
Yeah.
You'll be looking
You'll be
at
investigated.
suspicion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where did you get the money?
You build a house, steal.
Yeah.
As if you are not working to get an income. You are not being paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem. There is serious antagonistic setup or systems that doesn't allow black businesses to grow.
Yeah.
That's the challenge we're having in this country.
Sure.
The system that is there, even when we're in a democratic order, it's in papers. But practically
we're not experienced.
It's non-existent. It's non-existent. I mean, there are provinces where, for instance, I cannot go and look for client to become members of the
Why?
In other provinces.
Why not?
Because they are using regulations which were created in 1974. They are still in existence.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yes, we're in a democracy, so-called, but it's in books. Practically, there is a system that is there that will ensure that black people don't become meaningful players in this country.
No, that is Zamani. Thank you so much. We hope that we can continue to fight that black businesses can also partake fully and effectively in the financial sector. And we wish you well in what you are doing at Akani. Thank you for educating us on issues, all issues. Pension, we hope it's not the last time we host you, where we can keep talking to our people. I mean, what you said there about the percent of people who, in fact, deal properly with their pensions, some 6%. That is completely way below par. And it means that a lot of people are going to retire into poverty.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why people die early. They retire 65, at 66, you say, a person is dead. How already? When they are now supposed to be playing with their grandchildren and traveling and doing all sorts of things, they don't have money for bread. And that's why people work into their retirement. A person is 75 still working.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, it's a situation that needs intervention, for instance. Particularly, I will urge our government to make sure that there is law that prohibits businesses that has employed people
but no pension
but
fund.
with no pension fund. So it must be compulsory for employers when you register a company and you employ people
to make sure they have provision there for pension fund. Absolutely.
You can imagine, you ask for black administrators who are 30 years in this democracy and you speak of Akani as the only black
That's crazy. It's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate your time tonight, and we hope that the listeners at home has gained a lot from your wisdom and your input here tonight. We hope you enjoyed that particular show, and you're going to ask yourself the question, what am I going to do when I retire? Am I ready to face life beyond my monthly employment? When I finish in 65, will I have money in the kitty that would keep me alive until 70, 75, 80 for that matter? Or am I going to be retiring into poverty? I hope that gets you thinking. But until we talk frankly again, may God bless you.
Frank Dialogue on your radio with Dr. JJ Tabane. Let's talk frankly.